to speak not more than 5-7 minutes, because we are limited in time.
Easy.
So, two mics, you can share it as you want.
Зараз ще можна 56 секунд.
Yep, works. I think whenever we get the... Should we be? Oh, sorry. Are you going to start, or is it okay if I start?
Your Katrin, yes?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
of
start.
course you can
Okay. Okay. Great.
It's March 13, Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform starts its operation. My name is Svetlana Chaparenko. Now we will be talking about the need for consistent aid and support for children in Ukraine, success and challenges encountered by the NGOs that deal with this issue in Ukraine. So let me introduce our guests today. Joining us today are Emily Nell, Project Manager for Children's Resilience, Catherine Leach, Project Manager of the Children's Resilience Project. Also joining us online will be Tetyana Korotchenko, Country Director of Crown Agents Ukraine. Just about to join us is Anastasia Dovbnya, Project Manager of charitable foundation Save Ukraine. Also joining us in our studio are Vladyslava Punik, Head of the Communication Department of the NGO Stop Sexting, and Olga Glyuza, Head of the Humanitarian Department of the Charity Foundation Future for Ukraine.
To you, so tell us please how the Children's Resilience Project has helped NGOs in Ukraine and particularly Ukrainian children. What do you do?
Great. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm thrilled to welcome you to this event focused on the crucial need for sustainable assistance and support for children in Ukraine. For those who may not be familiar with me, I'm Catherine Leach, the project manager of the Children's Resilience Fund, a project initiated to address the evolving needs of children in Ukraine by providing support and funding to civil society organizations in the country. I'm joined here today, as already mentioned, by my colleagues Vanda Kulzub, the project coordinator from Crown Agents Ukraine, and Emily Nell, the director of the Children's Resilience Fund. February 24th marked 2 years since the Russian invasion into Ukraine, and children have been confronted with unimaginable challenges amidst the turmoil of war. They've not only faced physical dangers from ongoing attacks across the country, but they've also endured significant mental strain due to the loss of homes, parents, loved ones, and friends. The Children's Resilience Fund has been dedicated to enhancing their resilience through various initiatives such as child protection, education, and activities that improve their quality of life. Our commitment to this project and to the children of Ukraine remains unwavering, and we are continuously seeking new opportunities to amplify the impact of our efforts. To delve deeper into these achievements of the fund, I'll now pass the floor to Emily Nell, our fund's director.
Thank you, Catherine. When Crown Agents International Development, supported by Crown Agents Ukraine, introduced the Children's Resilience Fund back in 2023, our aim was to establish a specialised grants facility that collaborates with and benefits civil society organisations. Our objective went beyond merely just providing grants. We also aim to offer a flexible and adaptable capacity building advisory service that small to medium-sized organisations could utilise to empower their staff and strengthen their impactful work. The journey has been truly remarkable, as Vanda and the entire project team can attest. Witnessing the growth and expertise development of frontline, impactful civil society organisations has been truly remarkable. Some of our partners operate within 1 kilometre of the militarised zone and encounter numerous challenges on a daily basis. So how did it all begin? With Crown Agents boasting a 200-year history and 30 years of experience in Ukraine, we have a long-standing commitment to this sector. From launching emergency fundraising appeals in the early stages of the invasion to implementing the flagship UK government civil society support fund, our goal was to identify the most efficient and effective ways to channel resources to benefit the children of Ukraine through organisations working the closest with them. This approach was holistic and inclusive, requiring CSOs to outline their challenges from donors, identify gaps in support, highlight their most successful activities, and suggest ways they could scale up. In addition to the all-Ukrainian technical team, which included Ukrainian child protection, gender and mental health experts who assessed the applications, we engaged directly with the CSOs themselves. We listened to their input and incorporated it into the design of this fund. The outcomes have been significant in enhancing stability and resilience of children and their caregivers. The CSOs have implemented projects that enhance the online inclusion and protection of children, provide psychosocial support to Roma children and children with disabilities, and foster social cohesion between internally displaced children and host communities, among other achievements. By offering ad hoc technical assistance and back office support, enhancing capacities in budget and financial management, promoting accountability to affected populations, incorporating conflict sensitivity and gender and inclusion considerations, and supporting broader organizational policies and understanding of international donor requirements and pre-qualification standards, we've bolstered the positioning and confidence of these small to medium-sized organizations in applying for future international funds. The fund has not only enhanced the resilience of children, but has also strengthened their peers, parents, caregivers, teachers, community representatives, social workers, and more. The impact has been profound, with 11 project partners tirelessly working across Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, Chernivtsi, Lviv, Kamyanets-Podilsky, and Ivano-Frankivsk, reaching over 5,200 children. This is just the beginning, as more support is needed to build upon and expand these partnerships. So I invite you to join me in welcoming 3 of our partners here today. So thanks very much.
Thank you both for telling me about your incredible work. Зараз я попрошу нашу технічну команду під'єднати до нас пані Тетяну.
Now I would like to ask our technical team to have Ms. Tetyana connected to us. Hello. My name is Tetyana, I'm the head of Crown Agents Ukraine, and I'm in charge of all the works exercised by the company in Ukraine. So first of all, I would like to thank the wonderful team of Crown Angels who were working on this project. You've done a great job, really. And I would like to say something very personal, probably. My grandmother, she was a teacher, and she was always saying that the only thing that will be left after you with your children will be the memories. And as I see those projects supported by Crown Agents within Children's Resilience Framework, I'm humbled by the fact that we're creating those happy memories for the children during these challenging times. So I hope those 11 organizations that received support from us will be able to at least somehow retain some pleasurable memories with the children they work with. So Crown Agents, as Emily said, work in Ukraine for more than 30 years now, and all those projects, they are of incredible size in terms of funding, both in construction and in procurement, but we have a sentiment to the projects that are funded by our partners, something related to our soul, and our soul is related to our Ukrainian children. That's always like that. So I'm happy to see some of our grantees in the studio who will be able to tell about their work and how it may influence our children. So I will be staying in line, and if you have any questions to me, it will be my pleasure to answer them. Thank you, Ms. Tetyana. Thank you, Ms. Anastasia. Now, can you please tell us about your work, the work of your organization? What are the problems your organization and other civil organizations are facing in Ukraine? The microphone, please. Good afternoon. My name is Anastasia. I'm the project manager for Save Ukraine Charitable Foundation, and the global goal of our work is the sustainable childhood, and it is to provide children who ended up in crisis situations with those tools, with those services that are supposed to build that resilience in them, resilience against those challenges, so they can keep growing normally. So talking about the challenges we're facing now is the scale of the problem itself. First of all, our foundation works with the children who were deported to Russian Federation, who were illegally abducted, whose documents were changed, whose traces the Russians tried to delete, and the search and return of all those kids is an incredible challenge itself. So return and evacuation from temporarily occupied territories with their families is the first phase of our work. So talking about this rescue phase, and the following phase is restore. So after we bring the kids back, we realize that it's too little. It's too little to just save them, to provide them with physical safety and security. We have to rehabilitate them. So talking about this project that we implement successfully, the project that we finalized, Residence Crown Agents, it's directly related to restore, because we were organizing our therapy center for the children and their parents, those who were affected by the war, those whom we brought back, those who undergo rehabilitation in our Hope and Restorations or Recovery Center. Our therapy is a vital tool currently of the psycho-emotional support of stabilization of a child. It's vital because it's best understood for the children, because through their expression of themselves, through the art, through drawing, through watching movies, and properly facilitated discussion of those movies, children open up. Children can explain what they were feeling. They are able to find proper words, and we were realizing that within that project we won't be able, within 3 months that the child stays at our center, we wouldn't be able to completely help them to recover after the trauma. We wouldn't be able to completely cure them, because that's impossible, like within their whole life, let alone 3 months. But our team was clearly setting the task for themselves to provide that safe space facilitated by the trauma therapists, by art therapists, so that the kids at least could rethink that experience, so that the parents who create the environment for the kids, so that they can talk this experience through and rethink it too, and within those 3 months to provide them at least with some tools for self-regulation, self-adjustment of the whole family of the child, so that as soon as they walk out of the center, they could continue helping them themselves. And the third phase is rebuild. The way we interpret it for ourselves is integration or reintegration of the children and families. So this phase includes our module buildings, where children can live with their families if after 3 months of staying in the center, after their 3 months of recovery, they're still not ready to continue their lives independently of the foundation. Or there is yet another series of services for IDP kids, for children with disabilities and other vulnerable categories of population all across Ukraine, to support them, to help them to develop this resilience no matter what other challenges they're facing, to continue learning, continue developing regardless of the war, COVID, or any other challenges we are about to face. So within those 6 months, I think every story, I think more than 1,000 families, more than 1,000 beneficiary kids who were involved in this project, teachers, psychologists, therapists, social teachers, pedagogists. Well, we had a lot of success stories. However, the one I can recall now is a present story. This family is currently living in our center. They attend our therapy classes. It's the Hudali family. a father and a son, a father and a mother with 3 kids who lived in Liman, in the city of Liman in the Donetsk region, and in May 2022 there were intense shellings, they had no water supply, they had no electricity supply, and they were hiding in the basement of their neighbor's house because their house was completely destroyed already. So one day as they walked out to the courtyard to cook a lunch for themselves, there was another shelling, and a mother with an elder son and a middle daughter, they saved themselves, but unfortunately their younger brother Volodymyr will be 11 forever. So now they continue living in our center, getting rehabilitation, getting all the psychological assistance they need. And after communication with our psychologist, I've recently heard from Nastya, who is 15, and Lena, who is 17. They have just started opening up. So we can say that children eventually, finally, they start drawing, they finally start responding, the therapist, as they discuss something. So even when if it's not a small kid who has a lot of subconscious, but when it's like a teenager who consciously starts opening up to the adult, who start realizing that yes, I do have a problem, I experienced a loss of home, a loss of my younger brother, I've experienced the trauma of war. So it's a huge success. This is what we work for within our foundation, within our cooperation with Crown agents. So I don't know, if maybe my address was a little bit chaotic, but I would like to summarize that this is the activity which is extremely important, because building the resilience in children, building this resilient childhood, we make an invaluable contribution to the future of Ukraine, the future that we want to see, because we will either have very traumatized children or children who were experiencing a longer period of occupation, children who were deported, who would stay outside Ukraine, or otherwise we will help them to recover. Thank you, Ms. Anastasia, for this project that you've told us about. Ms. Anastasia, we would like to discuss also a very important program, Stop Sexting, and the aim of it is to train the parents how to teach their kids how to act online. Good afternoon. Our organization exists since 2018, and our focus is the sexual threats for the children online. But with the beginning of the full-scale invasion, we understand that the scale of this threat only multiplied and increased, and during the war, new threats have added, like involvement of children in misinformation, the conveying of some unfaithful information or something like that. So it can be not so obvious that security online is so important during the full-scale war, but it is so, and our latest research tells us that more than 90% of the children are the permanent users of internet, including 36% of those who try to escape from their problems, looking for new friends online when situation gets jeopardized, like during the shellings or events like that. And obviously in online they can not only find some good people, but also some criminals who pretend to be children, who then can extort some pictures from them or blackmail them in some other way. So within our project we had 3 main components. They are very successful, so I cannot emphasize one of them, but I will share about every one of them a little bit. So first was education and awareness campaign, which included training of trainers by the state consultation line 1553 that exists since 2018. Within that period, we've consulted more than 900 families on the topic of safety and security online. So any parent, any teacher, 24/7 can anonymously call 1545 and get their advice. All those advisors, they are supposed to be, on the edge, they like on the cutting edge. They have to be aware of the latest trends, and we train them to use the most recent information in their work. Another component was to create the network of civil organizations dealing with the well-being of children and tell them about the main risks that exist for the children online. Children may not know about some organization like Stop Sexting, that they stumbled upon that risk and they can call us, but they know about Teenagizer, another organization, and when they call them, the specialist of this organization, they're supposed to know that as children call them talking about online risk, they are supposed to know what context they should give those kids, where else could they call, and thus we've trained more than 500 members of civil organizations all around Ukraine. And the biggest ones are Teenagizer, La Strada, the Superhero School, and many other organizations. And the third component of our awareness and education campaign is what we've noticed recently. If recently Stop Sexting was doing educational programs for the teachers, and we were usually holding webinars for the teachers all around Ukraine who were listening to us about the online risks, and then they could visit the website of Stop Sexting and go to the class and have a class there. So starting from the beginning, we've taught more than 900 persons, including children, teachers, and parents. So we were trying to convey the information through the teachers, but with the beginning of the full-scale invasion, we realized that the teachers are real exhausted. It's just been after COVID that the full-scale invasion has begun. They don't really realize whether it's online or offline training day to day. The teachers are exhausted by running in and out of the shelters. And now we have juvenile police coming to us who tell us that we have trainings for children in schools and we would like to talk more to the children on this topic. So how can we do this? So using their support, we were able to create the full-fledged online course for juvenile policemen that was undergone by 135 police officers, and it's good that this knowledge is staying within the system. It's not leaking anywhere, and the system continues working. The juvenile police officers will continue going to schools having those classes, and the program was extended until April, which humbles me that we will have more juvenile police officers. So, but that was the education component. We also had a media component because this is my field. The main thing I would like to share is the advertising that we've put more than 100 advertisements, city lights, billboards, and metro lights. Quite a bright advertising that you may be able to see in Kiev. By the way, I've still seen it in Kiev on my way to this meeting, where we emphasize where the children, teachers, and parents can call at 1545, and there was information campaign in Facebook and Instagram for parents and teachers, and there were information videos in TikTok for the children. As we know, that's the most popular platform for the children through which we can communicate information to them. We were telling about the main threats that exist online for the kids and where they can call if they stumble upon any such threats. And the last thing I would like to add, that very rarely during this time we witness any support from the donors, not the support of the initiatives, but the civil organization itself. And we appreciate it incredibly that there was aid allocated for psychological support of the teams, for the mental health support of the teams, because that's really necessary during these times so we could continue our activities. And another thing is the supervision, the strategic sessions for the teams, thanks to which we were able to build new strategies, new plans, including all the risks, all the new changes that we're observing every single day. We're really inspired and we do appreciate all of the support. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Vladyslava. Ms. Olga, your organization works with the children who are affected by autism. So what you do in this area? Thank you very much for providing me with opportunity to talk about this because one of the goals of our activity is to spread the word about the existence of this problem, raising awareness about existence of these people. We have to emphasize that we have neurodifferent people who also need special attention in our society and who have equal rights as we do. So we work in Future for Ukraine Foundation. We help with prosthetics for the military, for the veterans. We help the women who experience sexual violence, and we also support the children who have the IDP status and who have the autism spectrum disorders. So we work with the children who were displaced during the war, and for the children in the autism spectrum, it's important for them. I mean, any change of the interior detail, if the walls are different color, it all can cause panic. It can all cause regress of the acquired skills, and it may result in suspension of their development for a prolonged period. This is why what we do is rehabilitation work with the children, and with us they are being treated. The speech disorders, the sensory capabilities of their bodies are being improved. Art therapy helps the children to get socially adaptable. In simple words, we teach them how to differ hard from soft or wet from dry. So the autism spectrum disorder is like some children are able to talk, some children will never be able to talk, some can understand their parents and some not, and their expressions, they can only be visible during some close contact. Other children, for example, they are completely unable to express their needs or their emotions, unable to answer the questions. And what we do in our hub is we help children on early phases to get adapted to the society so that in future they can obtain education, they can get a job, they can be to the maximum extent included in terms of their potential. Obviously, we cannot guarantee that every child will be socialized, but we take our best efforts to give them the chance to be as close as possible to the social benefits that all other people are entitled to. So we were applying to this grant to develop our project. As we've received this aid, we were existing for more than 1 year. By then we've acquired certain status. We had a number of kids, a number of children whom we trust, who are wonderful specialists, but we wanted to give them more. We wanted to make things better for the larger number of beneficiaries. So using this grant, we were able to get to better premises, to a bigger value that fits more children, more teachers. And in that venue, we open new rooms equipped, for example, we have a dark sensory room. We were able to procure the inventory for that, the equipment to equip that room, to outfit it, and children get skills there that they were unable to get elsewhere. We've increased the number of teachers that enabled us to increase the number of children whom we help, and it's important for us not to stop, but to see that our project does not only help, but we enter into contracts, like we have contracts, we have agreements with the parents that children are being trained with us for 1 year. It's a stable period within which you can observe certain dynamics, because it's a complicated disorder, and within a month you cannot even see any breakthrough. But within 1 year we know for sure that this dynamic exists. We know it based on the feedback of the children, and working there directly with the kids, I see, for example, that one child was not able to look directly in the eye. They were avoiding eye contact or reacting hysterically, but in a couple of months I can see the child perceiving everything going on in the how positively they react. They look you directly in the eye. The teachers tell me how wonderful are the trainings, the classes, and the mom says they started calling her mom, but before that they were communicating only with the sound. Now she says like I can get an answer from my child because they understand what the question is and what answer is, that they realize that now I want some feedback from them. So we set up some social connections within these year, so we just cannot afford stop, and we can only move forward, and we want to see more and more positive changes. We want to help the biggest number of children possible, the biggest number of people possible. Why are we stationed in Lviv? Because, you know, Lviv used to be a safer territory during the first part, during the beginning of the full-scale invasion, and many families have moved to Lviv. The western part, they can obtain the IDP status there, even if they cannot get the support from the government, but even if they can, it may be like one training per month. So only one lesson for such a long period. In our hub, children get 6 lessons per week and more than 26 lessons per month. So if parents do observe this schedule, they can observe some progress. And it humbles me that during the full-scale invasion, these children have progress rather than regress. And that we really see that using the support of our British colleagues, using our joint effort, we managed to do something real good. And we do appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Olga, for your incredible work.
Mrs. Leach, what's your opinion about these projects we presented today, and what do you think they mean for Ukraine's future, for future of our children?
Thank you, and thanks so much to all of you for the comprehensive overview of your projects. It's a big question. I think promoting children in general and children's future is the most important aspect for the future of Ukrainian stability coming out of this war, after the victory, and the memories that are made and how they move on from what they have experienced. It's so important to tackle that now in these stages, and to assess the damage coherently, and to start working on measuring that and fixing it. I think the emphasizing children's health, and also the health of the parents, and how to tackle the awful things that their children have experienced, and working with teachers, caregivers, parents who also have their own traumas to deal with, and it's very easy to sometimes inflict that on their children and vice versa, and working together and just building the strengths of those relationships and moving forward is something that's crucial for securing a better and more healthy society coming out of this war.
Yeah, thanks. Do you have something to add?
Yeah, I think I would just add quickly, when we thought about the fund and what we wanted to accomplish with it, we've kind of already said this, but it's really important to highlight that part of the reason that we wanted a really localized Ukrainian-led team was because we really wanted to find children most impacted, the most vulnerable children of the war. And I think that the representatives of the organizations we have here show children that have been marginalized in a number of ways. And those number of ways have made them truly a bit like, they've made them especially vulnerable. And we would not be able to reach these different types of children had we not worked with an incredible locally led team, because they had more understanding of the context than we might have had. And so we're just incredibly proud of the work that these organizations have done. And yeah, I think that would, yeah.
Thank you. Чи є у журналістів запитання?
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions on the floor to our guest, Anastasia Rakuta, Ukrinform? I'm having a question to all the representatives of the NGOs present here today. Can you please tell us whether you plan to implement in coordination with the government organizations any projects related to adaptation and rehabilitation of the kids who were brought from the temporarily occupied territories or from Russia? And if you do, so in which areas are those projects, like education, mental health support, etc.? Thank you. Let me start. Since the very beginning, since our establishment, we try to cooperate with the authorities, but we have different pace, so to say. We want to help right here, right now, but when you work with the government through bureaucracy, through a lot of applications or any other probable reasons, the work is very slow, and waiting for half a year to make a first step is not something we're ready to. So we're looking for other ways. We have a lot of plans, a lot of ambitions in terms of what we want to implement in what we do. And if we cannot count on the support of the state somewhere, support of the government, we try to count on our own forces, on our partners, on the organizations with whom we can jointly work. So we always favor any direct cooperation with the authorities, but if it doesn't come very quick, like, we find other alternatives. We don't exclude this opportunity, but that's not our priority. What I can say, our target audience is all of the children of Ukraine and all of the Ukrainian kids. We actively work with the state agencies, the Ministry of Education, the National Service, Juvenile Police, local municipal administrations. So within our education and awareness campaigns, all of those government authorities, they are actively involved in this type of work. So we cannot say that we don't achieve something in cooperation with them, but I cannot say so. But talking about something we would like to do in future, after training of the juvenile police officers, we would like to train the investigation officers and prosecutors, because all those online crimes, they are investigated by them, and it's necessary to train them to properly investigate those crimes, to bring or to hold perpetrators accountable. So talking about Safe Ukraine, as a previous speaker said, we work with different state agencies, local governments. We develop the most of our services in our pilot communities or in Kiev, in the communities of Irpin and Khatne. So it's important for us to empower those communities through cooperation with local services, not only to create services, but really to react to the problem, to identify it, and to work with the stakeholders right on spot. This is why we develop such centers as day centers for IDP kids, daily centers for children with disabilities. One of such centers will be opening in Irpin this Friday. We work with the local governments, local services to react to this need in a quality manner and to involve the beneficiary children in the most effective manner possible. But talking about the future, we may say, I think, about our joint approach, our joint model, that every single center, every single project we open or implement, we try to build the sustainable model that can be further on incorporated in the government agencies services. We can hand it over to the government to spread it, to scale it up from Kiev and from communities all over Ukraine to cover all of the children, because there is no doubt the children who were marginalized, those who are vulnerable, they are now all around Ukraine. I would like to thank our speakers for the wonderful job they're doing, for the presentation of the projects they implement. Let me remind you, we're talking about the need for consistent aid and support for children in Ukraine, and Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform will be back on air at 12 o'clock, and we will be talking about the perception of veterans in Ukrainian society. Stay tuned.